Hi everyone. Well, I didn't see the program, but basically this got me to thinking about Christmas. Somebody was telling me at the end of the Simpsons Halloween Treehouse of Horror, they Marge was supposed to have said, "Halloween is over. Now we have to start thinking about Christmas, and don't even think about making gifts. We're buying new." Right? Well, to me, um, in this economy, the way people are financially strapped, I really do believe that you know Christmas is a time to really cut back. It'll be too bad for the big retailers. It'll be too bad for the companies that bring in that cheap Chinese junk from overseas that doesn't employ anybody in your country or my country. Uh, uh, you know, uh, as far as Christmas goes, saving money at Christmas. Well, there's several things that you can do. I mean, you just have to look at it. The big savings is the presents. You basically say to the family, say, look, things are very tight now. This year, or from now on, um, you know, we're going to look at Christmas a little bit differently. Um, it's none of this $300 and $400 gift, computer game thing or stereo thing or new car or any of that garbage. I mean, you sit down and you discuss it with them and say, look, folks, we can, in this economy, the fact that everything is expensive and that Christmas we're going to eat well and we're going to celebrate, get back to maybe more closely to the true meaning of what Christmas is. I'm not a good Christian. I mean, I haven't been in church in years, other than for a funeral or a wedding. Um, but I do know that Christmas isn't about going out and, you know, jacking up your credit card $3,000 on a pile of garbage, right? So people won't call you a Scrooge, right? That's garbage. I mean, that's not what Christmas is about. So anyway, how to save money on Christmas. Of course, I give gifts at Christmas. I give small gifts, right? You know, um, inexpensive gifts that are good quality. Um, I will buy nice things at a hawk shop or uh, you know, uh, you know, or I'll make things, right? My brother, what I used to do when his family was still together, he's divorced now and everything like that. But I would put together a basket of nice food, stuff that you don't buy on a normal, a 10-year-old age cheese, or 9-year-old age cheese. Various sauces and spices and stuff like that. You just put together a basket and do that, and just put something together. And that way, his wife liked cherries, and I'd always make sure there was a bottle of cherries, maraschino cherries in the basket. And they always loved getting that thing, right? But as far as gifts, like, I mean, you know, you come from a big family, lots of brothers and sisters, right? You're all in your 40s or 50s, and I know that most of the people who watch my videos are, you know, 45 and up, or they're 40 and up. There are some younger people, but I mean, I've got 5 brothers and sisters. I'm not buying gifts for all of them. They're grown-ups, right? I mean, a phone call is a Christmas. I mean, we don't see each other. right? You know, going out and buying a pile of gifts for adults, 45-year-old adults. I mean, come on, grow up, right? Um, you know, and I will not accept gifts from them. I told them a long time ago. I said, look, I said, Christmas is coming. Don't buy me anything because I'm not buying you anything. And at first, I was the worst bastard that ever lived on the face of the earth, right? But they got over it, right? You know, it was that simple. I just got fed up with it, and it wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was just that I didn't want to go to the mall. My God, going to the malls at Christmas time is insane, and everything is jacked up. They jack up the prices, uh, and it's just lunatics. But the thing is that you can save a lot of money at Christmas time if you just don't participate in the consumerism of Christmas. Don't send Christmas cards out. You know, a Christmas card cost anywhere from 50 cents to $2, and then you got the mail on top of it. Why bother, right? You know, you might send out a few select Christmas cards to people, but to send out a mass pile of Christmas cards, like, you know, I would get Christmas cards from people, everybody that I ever went to school with at one point. You know, it was like, you know, I was getting Christmas cards from people that I hadn't seen since high school. It was just that they knew my name, right? And, you know, we were friends in high school, which is not, you know, I have almost no friends that I see from high school anymore. But I used to get these cards from them. Send a Christmas email card. You want to do that. I mean, that makes they're usually free, or they are free. Um, but, you know, as far as Christmas goes, it's not it was, the original thing was not a Christmas, it wasn't about spending all kinds of money. And it's about, you know, to me, now it's about family. Like I said, I'm not a very good Christian. I'm not very religious, but if you're religious, then embrace the religious aspect of it. You know, look at it for what it is. Um, you know, the Santa Claus thing and getting out and buying all kinds of garbage. This is just ridiculous. You know, the title is "Saving Money at Christmas Time." It really should be my Christmas rant. I'm just so fed up being. I remember the Canadian finance minister was being interviewed about the Canadian economy, and this was back in, well, it was in the 90s, and I was in the car and the radio was on, and they were interviewing him. They said, "Well, how do you see the economy shaping up for the year?" And he said, "Well, it all depends on what kind of Christmas season we have." And just at that moment, I was driving by a house, and the sign on it said, "Jesus is the reason for the season." Just as he's speaking this, right? And I thought, my God, you know, the prime, or the he eventually became prime minister. Paul Martin was his name. All he was concerned about is that Canadians went out and racked up as much, spent as much money as possible on Christmas. You know, you have senior citizens in Canada, the United States, Great Britain, Europe, all over the world going hungry in January because they blew all their money on the kids right, in December. This is true, right? There's a lot of elderly people blow their wad on 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 money or on Christmas presents for the kids. Now this is ludicrous, right? And they see us as just a bunch of consumers, right? I hate that. I'm not a consumer. I'm a human being, and I'm certainly not going to go out and just spend, so they can collect more tax dollars on sales tax, so the corporations can make more profit, so workers in China can have a friggin' job. Yeah, screw that. Anything I give, I either make, or if I see something that is really top quality, like giving a Mora knife. Mora makes great products, $10 or $12. That's a great knife, right? I'd be happy if anybody gave me a Mora knife. And if anybody wants to send me a Mora knife, no. But the the thing is that I remember a few years ago I was at a flea market and there was Est-wing hammers, right? I picked up an Est-wing hammer, brand new, and I think it was a 12-ounce hammer, light for doing stuff. And I picked it up for like $8. I gave that to a good friend of mine, and I mean he just went, wow, right? Because it was an Est-wing. And I told him, I said, listen, it's as far as I know, it looks unused, but I did buy it at a flea market, and I didn't have to tell him that, but I wanted to tell him up front, and I got a really good price on it because I didn't want him to think that, the lame card he gave me was whatever, but the thing is, no, he didn't give me a lame card. He gave me a nice gift, but you know what I'm saying is that you go out there and you select who you want to give to, the people who are in your lives on a regular basis, you know. And they have at work the Secret Santa bullshit, right? I used to tell them, I ain't doing that crap. Piss off. You're not getting any money out of me for this. This is not what Christmas is about, right? And everybody goes, you're a Scrooge. I'm not a Scrooge. I mean, I'll have a video up. You'll see my Christmas tree. And that's another thing. I'm very fortunate. I live in the woods. So as far as getting a Christmas tree, it doesn't cost me anything other than the energy to operate the bow saw when they cut it down. If you live in a major city, anywhere, I imagine, well, I know that, when I lived in Halifax, Christmas trees got up to, they were running between 20 and $40. And they're expensive. The best thing to do, if you don't already have one, is go artificial. And really, you should have bought your artificial tree after Christmas. So, if you have to go with if you want a tree, buy a tree. I used to, I used to go on Christmas Eve and get my tree, and or just before they closed up, and I'd look around for the Charlie Brown tree, right? And I said, "What do you want for that?" And they said, $10. I said, "I'll give you $5 for it," right? Or if they want whatever they said, I said, "I'll give you $5 for it," and they knew they couldn't sell that tree, but I was offering $5 for that. They'd take it right away. But pick up an artificial tree. We have an artificial tree. Got for nothing. I mean, you can pick up an artificial tree in July, usually for nothing. Or if you start talking to people, again, sort of like in my video, you can get anything you want for free. Just start talking to people and say, look, I'm looking for an artificial Christmas tree because for whatever reason, I'm finding I'm allergic to Christmas trees. I'm allergic to the real trees, so I like to have an artificial tree. Boy, people got 2 or 3 of them in their basement, right? And Christmas ornaments, geez, never buy them at the store, right? All these things should have been bought. Like, I don't have to buy Christmas ornaments. I've got my own Christmas ornaments, plus the stuff my mother had. Um, the only thing that I did buy a few years ago, I bought LED lights because it was they were better for electricity. I mean, they're using 4 watts of electricity instead of 5 watts of bulb for the mini lights. Um, but it's that type of thing. You don't have to spend yourself into debt for it. Now, there seems to be a lot of pressure on people at Christmas time. You can alleviate that pressure by turning off your television set. I imagine the Christmas advertising is in full swing right now on radio and on television and everywhere else. I've seen it in the flyers already. I got the notice the Wish book is out, I think. They don't send it to us, but we get a notice. If you want a Wish book, you can go in and get it. Just avoid all that stuff. Like I said in one of my videos, get rid of your television, get rid of your radio, right? You'll be amazed at how much money that'll save you at Christmas. It's best not to participate in the consumerism. Make it about family. And the money you save, you can buy that extra big turkey and you can stuff yourself with everything. Ideally, you shouldn't spend more than, I don't know, $200 or $300 on Christmas. That's about what I'm budgeting. I'm actually budgeting less than that. I won't spend anywhere near that because the gifts that I already have, and good quality things. So anyway, it's my Christmas rant. I mean, you look at it and you get just so fed up with being thought of as some stupid consumer, right? And we're more than that. You're more than that. I'm more than that. We're not just consumers. We're people. We're people who have, who are fed up with being treated like this. And it's not about, you go and you work hard for your money, and they do everything in their power to separate you from it. So that, like, if each of us had been able to save 20% of our income from the time we first started working, and not put it in the stock market, right? Just if we had a decent place to put money, if we had been able to do that, we wouldn't have to worry about unemployment or anything like that, because we could always fall back on our savings. That's what savings were always designed for. And the slick artists, the weasels, the money weasels, they just try and figure out how to take it away from you. And Christmas is one of them. Halloween, Easter, the amount of money that people see. The latest thing that got me was Easter presents. Easter presents. Can you imagine that? Right now I'm going off on Easter, but Easter presents. It used to be we would get a chocolate bunny and a few of those sugar eggs, right? That was Easter. And, Easter we would have the chocolate high, and it was great. And we'd have a good meal. But now they're trying to convince people to, and I know an awful lot of people are going to go out and they're going to spend their hearts out, and then in January they're going to kick themselves in the arse for all the stuff that they bought, you know. And it's like you know when if you really want to, if you have some extra money, um, buy a load of groceries and put them in the food bank, right? You know, that's you know, I think that would be a great thing because people are going to need, you know, there's an awful lot of people in trouble, right? Volunteer with people, you know. They have the the programs, you know, toys for kids. Pick up a few things for some kids. Drop them off like they do it here at the fire departments. They've been doing it for years. Um, they have toys for kids things. To me, you could give a card saying I donated X number of dollars to the food bank, or I donated X number of dollars to the Salvation Army, or to the whatever charity, right, in your name, right? And not the George Costanza thing, you know, but that is a much better way to give a meaningful Christmas present, right? And you know, I donated $10 in your name to this charity, right? Now they may not appreciate it, and if they don't appreciate it, they're assholes. Somebody gave me a card and said I donated $10 in your name to XYZ charity. Make sure it's a legitimate charity and a charity that actually deals with our own people, not some obscure thing, right? Or deals with real people. I shouldn't say our own people, but I mean, you know, not something that is, you know, 80% goes to the administrator or the administration, and 20% goes to the people, right? I mean, you can check online and find charities that are really quite good. There's a lot of them that are terrible. You could go to your local church and donate extra money to the church because they run food banks and soup kitchens and different things like that. And you could say, okay, well, this is what we're doing this year for Christmas. And you take the kids and you say, kids, this is what we're going to do on Christmas. We're going to volunteer. That's my, and you know what? Taking your kids out and getting them to do that. It's one of the greatest presents in the world you can give your child, because it gives them a sense. I remember one of the proudest moments I ever had. I was working for my brother-in-law, and we went in there. I went in after we were doing transportation, and I walked into the office, and he said, "Look at this." And he hands me a note, and the note basically said, "We haven't eaten since Tuesday, and so-and-so was too weak to go to school today." I forget the child's name. We drove handicapped kids. And he goes, "I want you to go to the store." And he goes, "Pick this stuff up." I said, "Okay." He went down to his freezer and he got stuff. And him and I, we loaded up the trunk. And we arrived at that house. And it was a terrible situation. It was the grandfather, father slash father, daughter slash mother, and this poor child. And when we got in there was a potato on the counter. And you know how a potato starts to rot and it's sort of runny? That was what they had in the house. And we just filled it up. We just filled, and Gary was just, you know, very proud. And, that was one of those moments in my life. It was quite amazing. Um, uh, Very good person. He's crazy as a shithouse rat on so many levels. But here, at that moment, he was a decent man. And he was all through his life. Anybody was in trouble, he was there. You learn from people like that. And if you take your kids out and you volunteer at different things, they get to see that the world is not one way. Right? Take a load of firewood to somebody who doesn't have firewood. Boy, that's a good Christmas present. Right? But anyway, that's my Christmas rant. I know that's it's a I get so ticked off by the powers that be that think I'm just a consumer. Well, they can consume this. That's how I can say it. And this one too, right? That because I don't participate in their crap. Anyway, till the next time.